Hello, hello, welcome to my house and welcome to my kitchen. So yet another day that I'm trying to broadcast in two different places at the same time. So we're gonna see how that works out today. So today I'm going to make salsa. Salsa has to be one of my favorite things in this world to make. Salsa, I'm from Mexico City, so obviously salsa is something that is a part of my everyday meals every day. To me, that what I always tell my husband is that a house is a Mexican house if they have amazing salsa. And that's only obviously words from a chef. That doesn't mean anything except for what it means to me. So I feel salsa is super important. And salsa is so versatile. There's not like three ways to make salsa. There's many ways to make salsa. You can make your own salsa and you can add the ingredients that you want. So today I'm gonna make a salsa that is an adaptation that I just made. And I really think it's super good. It's something similar to what I use for huevos rancheros, but it has some other things, okay? So the salsa that I'm gonna make today is tomato. So 3 tomatoes, 2 tomatillos, half an onion, 2 garlic cloves, 4 supposedly they're ancho chiles, but they don't really look like, I mean, they look like ancho chiles, but ancho chiles are a little bit more broad than this one. These are skinnier. So I don't know if they're really ancho, but they taste similar to ancho. So if you have ancho, ancho's amazing. So 3 dried chiles, a tablespoon of sesame seeds, and then salt and pepper. So that's it. To me, the basics of a salsa would definitely have to be obviously the chiles, and it can also be a salsa that's only chiles. There's a salsa that I learned in Mexico thanks to a friend I have, Alonso. And that salsa is called salsa macha, and it's only chile jalapeno. That's it, chile jalapeno, and I will make it another day. It's chiles jalapenos put in a really hot pan, and then you add extra virgin olive oil, salt, and I think that's it. So, I mean, a salsa can be from that to another salsa that has many, many ingredients, okay? So what I'm gonna start with today is I have water boiling here. Now, in the system that I'm using today for broadcasting, I don't think I'm gonna be able to turn the cameras. So you're just gonna have to imagine that you see me in the stove, because today that's not gonna be possible. Further down the road, what I want to do is I wanna be able to have like 2 different cameras, I guess. So I can show here and there, because usually I do it with the phone and then I go to both sides with the phone, but now both things are static. So we'll see how that works out. So I'm gonna put these chiles just like they are with the seeds and everything. I'm gonna put them in boiling water. And then these seeds that I have left over, I'm gonna throw them away. I have a little thing here for trash. And then I'm going to char the tomato. I'm going to char the onion, the 2 tomatillos. So I'm going to take out the part where the stem is. So usually that's a part of a tomato where bacteria and things like salmonella and etc. could be hiding. So I always like to take that off. I wash everything, obviously, but that's something that I learned and it stuck with me. There's some things that stick with us, but also something important is I think that we often have to wonder, that thing that stuck with me, does it still make sense? Do I believe it? Because it's not always true. There's many things that stuck with us from childhood that when we think of them, they ridicule us. For example, to me, I got told that if it rained and I got wet, I would for sure get sick. And I believed it for a long time until one day when I grew up, when I was an adult, I was like, does that really make sense to me? And it doesn't make sense to me because I think that you get sick. I'm gonna start putting this on the pan. So like I said, you guys cannot see it, but I'm gonna show it when it's charred. So I'm just gonna put it on a pan that's really, really hot. And I can show the pan in a moment. And those things are called, in Vishen Lakiani has a book. So this is how it's looking. Vishen Lakiani has a book that really changed my life. And it talks about bullshit rules. So in that book, he explains that the rules that we choose to believe whenever we are growing up, whenever finally we grow up, and we ask ourselves, do I really think that? Do I believe that that's true? And many things we do and many things we don't. So if something doesn't make sense, then you can say, okay, I don't believe this anymore, and I'm going to choose to believe whatever makes sense to me or whatever I believe. So that's an example of what I believed or not about the tomatoes having bacteria and stuff in that round thing. It makes sense to me still, so still I remove it, but whatever makes sense to you when you make it, that's fine. So I'm going to use a blender. Whenever this is ready, I'm going to use a blender. Now, there's not such a thing as a set rule as far as salsas are concerned, that, oh, you have to, if this salsa is a green salsa, it has to be cooked, or it has to be raw. Or if you make a salsa that has dried chiles and regular chiles, there has to be a ratio. There's not a rule of thumb that tells you, if you want to make a salsa, this is what you have to do. So now that I'm thinking of it, if somebody would ask me, hey, if I've never made a salsa, how can I make a good salsa? So what I would say is, to start with, if you have really never made salsa in your life, I would start with a basic salsa. So a basic salsa is a tomato, onion, garlic, chile, and cilantro. I don't know if I said cilantro earlier. I'm also adding cilantro. So that would be a basic salsa. If you have never made a salsa in your life, I would say start with the basic. If you want to start with a basic green salsa, then it would be tomatillo, onion, green chile. It can be jalapeno or it can be serrano. For the raw green salsa, I add a little bit of lime. For the cooked, I don't add, because whenever you cook tomatillos, they are more sour. And there's a couple of things they say that help it be less sour. So you can use baking soda. You can use a little bit of sugar. What's the other one I've heard? There's many urban legends, and because salsas have been made since the beginning of times in Mexico, then there's many urban legends, or there's many words of wisdom that grandmothers would pass from one person to the other, saying, okay, if you want to make a good salsa, this, no? For example, my husband's grandma, whenever we went to Puebla, she said, if you are ever going to make mole, the trick to good mole is that you cook the chiles perfectly. If you don't cook the chiles perfectly, then you probably are going to get, you or your guest, indigestion. So go figure, that's something that you wouldn't think of unless you've made mole your whole life. So I believed it, because she's made mole like 150,000 times probably. So I believed her, so I used that rule that she told me. So whenever I make adobo or mole, I pay special attention to the chiles, so they are really well cooked. So I cannot really read the comments now because I'm so far away with my two devices that I'm using. Okay, Nelly is asking if I put garlic. So if it's green salsa, if it's raw green salsa, I don't use garlic. If it's cooked, I do. If it's red salsa, I do use garlic. So I guess there are some rules, but they're not really set rules. They're just, like I said, as you start to make your salsa, then you discover the different ways you like it. Okay, so this is getting there slowly but surely. I'm gonna use this to move it, and like I said, today I cannot show the stove because of the way I set the cameras to be able to do broadcasting at the same time. It's gonna be on YouTube, and at the same time it's on Instagram. And eventually, what I want to do, what I'm going to do in the next couple of weeks is that I'm going to roll out of Instagram for the lives and just be on YouTube. And then I will always put the link here on Instagram. So that's what's going to happen. And it's so funny, because that to me is leaving my comfort zone. So my comfort zone is Instagram because I've been using Instagram for a whole year to make lives. And it's what I know, and it's what is easy. And I just can set it up in 1 second. But then YouTube is just like something new, so I'm not sure. Okay, with a camera like that, I look tiny, says my sister Jerry, and it's because it's up high. So in that one, I look shorter. In this one, normal. So it's just I'm experimenting. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, eventually it's only going to be in YouTube. So whenever it's in YouTube, then that's gonna be it. I also want to do a transmission. I know there's one thing that you can do a transmission. I'm gonna put the sesame, so 1 tablespoon sesame. I'm gonna do a transmission with a thing that somebody told me, but I need to do more research. Ooh. And it is, you can do it on 4 different places at a time. So I think you can do Facebook, Instagram. I don't know if LinkedIn was the other one. So you can do 4 at the same time. Okay, so I'm adding the tomatoes. I'm adding the garlic. I'm adding the tomatillo. There's one that fell to the floor. I'm gonna dump it. So I'm not going to add the cilantro yet. The cilantro goes at the very end, and I will explain in a moment. So if I come really far, I must look really short, and it's funny. Okay. Okay, so one thing that is true for me is that whenever I make salsa, I don't like to blend it to a point where it is like a liquid. Okay, so what's in it? Jerry's asking. So what's in here is tomato, tomatillo, onion, garlic, sesame, 5 red chiles. I'm going to add this half jalapeno that I have here. And I'm going to add a secret ingredient, which is capers. So capers are going to add a really unique flavor that people are going to be like, so that's a really good salsa, and I can taste something that I don't know what it is. I added the liquid part. Okay, so it's like a tablespoon of capers. And then I'm going to add the cilantro. So the reason that I don't add the cilantro at the beginning is because it's, if you add the cilantro since the beginning and it blends and blends and blends and blends, then the color changes, and I don't like that. So I'm just putting it at the end, and I'm just not pulsing it, or yes, pulsing it. Perfect. So again, I'm gonna repeat all the ingredients. Tomato, whoa. Tomato, tomatillo, onion, garlic, sesame, cilantro, jalapeno, 3 ancho chiles, and salt. That's it. Like a teaspoon of salt. I'm gonna put the ingredients next to the picture that I'm going to post, so you can have the recipe. So like I said, there's a million salsas that you can make. Once you decide that you like salsas, or if you like salsas, if you start making your own, I assure you that you're going to be surprised, because whenever you start making your own salsas, they are amazing. Like yesterday, I made a cooked green salsa. The only thing that's raw is cilantro. So it was a cooked green salsa, but it also had a little bit of these dried chiles. And it came out to be so amazing that my husband and I could not stop eating it. So you have to start to make your own, and then from there you can start playing, and you can say, okay, I'm gonna add this, I'm gonna add that. Okay, so they're asking if they're cooked. So the tomato, the onion, the garlic, tomatillo were all charred, not really cooked, but charred. And then cilantro is raw, and then sesame toasted. So I'm gonna show it up close. This is how it looked like. This is how it looks like. Obviously, I'm going to try it. So today in the morning, so I was gonna say I'm gonna try it with a piece of salmon. Today in the morning, in the ongoing group, we made a mason jar salad. So a mason jar salad, we made it because it's easy, it's convenient, you can take it to go. So that's why we made it, and it came out amazing. So I use salmon. So I'm gonna taste it with the salmon. I need a little bit of salt. Okay. So this salsa for huevos rancheros or for scrambled eggs or for a sope. A sope is like a with corn masa. You make like a thin-ish tortilla, and then you add refried beans. We don't refry them with lard here in the seed, but just with ghee or avocado oil. So beans, chorizo, queso fresco, and this salsa. That's all you need to go to heaven and be like, oh my God, this is so good. So this is one of the many salsas that I make. I probably in 20 years, I have come up with, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 different salsas. Some are similar, some are really different, but they're amazing. So this is the salsa that we made today. I hope that you make it because it's super good, super easy. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I just want to say that I feel it's super important that we remember to always center ourselves. I feel that right now there's more noise than ever, and I think it's gonna continue to be that way, the outside noise. So how do I know what to believe? Just believe what's in your heart. That's what I do. And I think the heart never lies. Raimundo, happy birthday. It was Raimundo's birthday yesterday. I hope you had an amazing birthday. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you make this salsa. You can eat it with quesadillas, with tacos, with chilaquiles. The options are limitless. And I will be making more salsas because I know people really love salsas. So have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you Thursday.